Hi Loopy, here's a video of the 4 problems that you asked me to do. So, let's get started. Here is the first question, and this one is number 83. So the directions for number 83 says factor the expression by grouping terms. So how many terms do we have here? We have 4. We have 2x cubed plus x squared minus 6x minus 3. Whenever you see 4 terms, let's split it in half. So let's draw a line down the middle. Once we draw a line, let's focus on one part. Right here we have 2x cubed plus x squared. With that, what can we factor out? We can factor out an x squared, so let's take that out. So let's take out an x squared. When we take out an x squared, what do we have left inside the parentheses? We have left a 2x. Bring down your plus sign. Bring down a number. What is that number that we're going to bring down? Because we factored out the x squared, we're left with the number 1. Close parentheses. The second part, we have negative 6x minus 3. Notice they're both negative. So right here, let's take out a negative number. And what number can we take out? Let's take out a negative 3. So taking out a negative 3, what do we have left? So let's take the negative 6 divided by negative 3. What is negative 6 divided by negative 3? That's going to give us positive 2x. And here we have negative 3 divided by negative 3. That's going to give us a positive 1. So let's take a look at this. In parentheses, here we have 2x plus 1. Here we have 2x plus 1. Are they exactly the same? And yes, they are. So that means that's one of our factors. So one of our factors is 2x plus 1 in parentheses. And then let's bring down what we factored out in the beginning. Let's bring down the x squared. And let's bring down what we factored out in this set of parentheses. We factored out a negative 3. Let's bring that down. Let's close it. So our final solution right here is 2x plus 1, x squared minus 3, and it's completely factored. We are done with that one, and that one's number 83. The next problem that we are going to do is number 85, and that one has the same set of directions. We're going to factor completely by grouping, and right here we have 4 terms. So our 4 terms, the first one is x cubed, we have 4x squared, we have x, and we have 4. So, let's split this down the middle. So let's draw our line right down the middle. Once we draw the line, let's focus on one part. And again, what can we factor out here? We can factor out an x squared, so let's take that out. So we have x squared parentheses. What are we left with? We're left with x plus 4, close parentheses. And then the second part, we have left x plus 4. So can we factor anything out? Really, the only number that you can factor out here is the number 1. So let's just go ahead and factor out the number 1. So we're taking out the number 1, and what do we have left? We have x plus 4 in parentheses. Okay, so are they exactly the same inside the parentheses? And it's yes, because we have x plus 4, so what does that mean? That means that is one of our factors. Let's bring everything else down, and then right here we have x squared. Let's bring down the x squared, and right here we have 1, and it is a positive 1. So our final answer is x plus 4 times x squared plus 1, and we're done with this one. Done. Okay, the next problem that we have is a fun one. And this one is number 89. So the directions asks us to factor completely, and it says begin by factoring out the lowest power of each common factor. So our exponents are fractions, but that's okay. We can do this, because right here we have x to the 5/2 minus x to the 1/2. Which one is the lowest power? And in this case it's the 1/2, so let's just factor out that x to the 1/2 right here, and big set of parentheses. So if we factor out x to the 1/2, what's left right here? We're left with 1. And then just bring down the minus sign. So the only hard part in this case is finding out what this term is right here. So how do we do that? We're going to take this fraction right there, this fraction right there, we're going to subtract those two fractions. So we're going to take the first fraction, which is 5/2, minus the second fraction that is box, which is 1/2. And then we're going to subtract the fractions, but first let's make sure the denominators are the same. And are they the same? Yes, they are. So let's subtract the numerators. We have 5 minus 1, which is going to give us 4/2. What's 4/2? So 4/2 gives us +2. So that means in parentheses we have x raised to the +2. So if I were to connect those fractions together, what nice little shape do we have here? We have a triangle, and I kind of like to think of that as the Bermuda Triangle. But after we factor, we have to take a look at this. And what we have here, we have x to the 1/2 times parentheses x² minus 1. Close parentheses. Are we done factoring this? No, because x² minus 1 is a difference of squares. So if it's a difference of squares, we can write down x plus 1, close parentheses, times x minus 1, close parentheses, and bring everything else down. So this, my dear, is your final answer. So we have x to the 1/2 times x plus 1 times x minus 1, and we are done. I have to draw the heart, as usual. Yay. Okay. And we have one more problem. Right here, same set of directions as the previous problem. And right here, this one is number 93. We have x² plus 1 raised to the 1/2 plus 2 times x² plus 1 raised to the -1/2. Which one is the lowest exponent? I say the -1/2 is. So this is what we're going to do. We are going to factor out this whole thing right there. And then we're going to write down x² plus 1, close parentheses, raised to the -1/2, and we have to ask ourselves, okay, what's left in the brackets? Since this whole thing right here was taken out, what we have left, we still have that number 2 right there, so I'm going to bring down that number 2 and that plus sign right in front of it. But right here, we have a 1/2 right here, so we're going to take that fraction from the original problem. We're going to take out what we factored out, the -1/2, and again, we're going to take the original fraction, which is 1/2, minus the exponent that we factored out, and that one is -1/2 right there. So we have 1/2 minus -1/2. A negative and a negative is a positive. So we have 1/2 plus 1/2 is equal to what? It's equal to 2/2. And what is that? That's the number 1. So what do we have now? Right here, we're left in parentheses x² plus 1 raised to the positive first exponent because of this. So here we go. I'm going to box that exponent, draw the little triangle right there so you can see the relationship. And then right there we can combine like terms. I'm going to bring everything down. So I'm going to bring down the first set of parentheses, and that one is x squared plus 1 raised to the negative 1/2 times, we have x squared plus 1 plus 2. What's 1 plus 2? That's going to give us the number 3. So, right here, what do we have as our final answer? We have x squared plus 1 raised to the negative 1/2 times x squared plus 3, and that, Miss Loopy, is your final answer. Yay. Okay, you are done. Here's your smiley face for the day. I hope that helped. I'm trying to put this on the dresser right here on the table, but it won't stay. Oh, yes it will. Yes it will. Okay. I hope that helped. I will see you tomorrow night. And I miss seeing you because it's been a long time since I saw you last. So, have a wonderful night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, Loopy.